Get your wallets out since the Steam summer sale is here and it's time to pay tribute to Gibbon, where I have 25 deals to get, but the price will keep decreasing as the video goes along. Beginning with the Pathless, a third-person action-venture game where you play as an archer with an eagle companion, being a gorgeous title not to be missed. The massive, flaming bosses and how they change the entire landscape is a sight to behold, where the momentum-based traversal, where you're shooting at targets in the environment to keep your speed, is a clever way to get you to explore, where this comes to us from the developer of the beautiful underwater exploration title Abzu, making this of interest. I'm a big Heroes of Might and Magic fan, so of course I have to shout out Songs of Conquest, basically a spiritual successor to that series in all but name, but still manages to put a fresh spin on things. The high-bit pixel art is gorgeous, and the unit-based, turn-based combat on the grid is neat, where the castle building aspect here is quite unique and worth a look, being pretty good at 50% discount. This next title is not indie at all, since Remnant from the Ashes comes to us from Gunfire Games, a developer that had 82 employees as of 2021, where this third-person Souls-like RPG with guns is excellent. You would think that adding in ranged weapons would mess up the Souls-like design and challenge, but they have tuned it very well, so get in on this in anticipation of its sequel releasing later this year. One of the best Metroidvanias available right now is LILIES Quietus of the Night, a grimdark title from a Japanese developer where you play as a priestess enlisting the help of fallen and corrupted knights as you attempt to lift a curse from the land. Our heroine does not directly attack, instead relying on these knights, even extending to the Metroidvania traversal abilities, so pick this up at 50% off if you have not played it. The space survival crafting game ASTRONEER has been humming along nicely for many years, continually adding content and improving through early access and even post-launch, where it is estimated to have made this developer more than $45 million, where if you love exploration and survival style gameplay with crafting and going up the tech tree, this will be your game, where this is at its lowest price ever at 60% discount, so grab this and a friend or two and enjoy. I love Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, primarily because of how blatant it is in being a Symphony of the Night-like, coming to us from legendary game developer Koji Igarashi, who went indie after leaving Konami, where this is an excellent Metroidvania that leans more on the latter, having leveling, stats and equipment, where it is possible to grind out sections and become overpowered. There's plenty to explore, unlock and upgrade, with fun abilities and cameo appearances as well, so get one of my favourites at a whopping 70% discount. Inscryption is one of the best games of 2021, an atypical roguelite deck builder that does have a definitive end, where there's a whole meta story about the living cards and the conversation that you have with them, with the stylized art and very creepy atmosphere being well done as well, being a no-brainer at this price. Stealth games and immersive sims are a tough genre to make, and while they are usually in first person, Weird West Definitive Edition is unique in that it has an isometric perspective and has some excellent narrative in addition to the core immersive sim elements. It doesn't just have one protagonist, but many, weaving together their stories in a clever way, where the freedom of choice in how you tackle a problem is the charm here. There will of course be a number of Metroidvanias on this list, since I do love those, with the underwater title Pronty being of interest, where you play as a fish person exploring a once great underwater city. You have a javelin fish companion by your side that acts as both offense and defense, where the underwater exploration here feels pretty good and is not like a bad underwater level in a traditional game. The combat is fun as well, with giant mutant sea creatures to battle, being relatively overlooked, so try something new with this. The gorgeous high-bit pixel art title Owlboy really impressed with the visuals, where this game has not been at more than 50% discount and finally gets a larger discount at 65% off. It's an action-adventure platformer where you're picking up various allies, where they then become your primary attack, with an interesting story and charming world to explore. If you have not played Death's Door, please get this on sale, since it is an absolute steal for how great this game is. This is an action-adventure game where you play as a crow Grim Reaper, with more of a focus on combat, where you do need to time your attacks and retreat strategically just like in a Souls-like game, but stops just short of having a full stamina meter, where this got Game of the Year awards for good reasons. Here's something a little different in Little Noah Scion of Paradise, a roguelite platformer from a Japanese developer, having an interesting ally system where you can call upon the Lilliputs in combat, being able to choose from over 40 of these, which is plenty of variety. It's a fascinating game because of that, and it's not something you usually see in roguelites, where 750 for this is pretty good. Another one of my favourite Metroidvanias is Timespinner, a pixel art title where you use orbs to attack, which is very interesting, having a time bending and stopping mechanic that actually feeds into the exploration. The pixel art is gorgeous of course, where this is also a Symphony of the Night-like, being an underrated one of these and is at its highest discount ever of 70% off. A neat little precision platformer that you might have missed is Grapple Dog, which, from the title, does of course have a grappling hook as its main mechanic, but where our hero is also able to roll up into a ball, being cute, vibrant and quite the challenge, being well worth the cost of entry. Of course, if you have not played this, Crosscode is one of the best indie games ever, and at 70% discount, you owe it to yourself to give this a go if you have not tried, where this is a throwback 16-bit SNES title but with modern flourishes. It is set inside a fictional MMO with meta elements with our amnesiac protagonist, but there's just so much content here with fun combat, although the most common knock is that the puzzles in dungeons can be a little tedious, but $6 for this is just insane value for money. Don't knock Rabi-Ribi until you try, but this bunny girl bullet hell Metroidvania is excellent, where again, 70% discount should push you over the edge in giving this a shot if you have not played it, and look forward to this developer's next game, Tevi, releasing later this year as well. I really like Undermine, an action roguelite title that just nailed the gameplay loop, where you play as disposable peasants sent into the mines to find and stop the source of mysterious earthquakes, but of course there are monsters lurking in the dark. However, you do get gold, which unlocks upgrades from run to run, where the gradual powering up and progression just keeps you playing, being relatively underrated as well. Folks, come on, even you have to agree that this is insane, since the Souls-like RPG Mortal Shell is under $5, where the new kid on the block in the Souls-like space had an excellent debut, which makes me curious as to what they are working on next. Yes, it is fairly Dark Souls inspired, but does have the unique, if overpowered, hardening mechanic, but if you're craving one of these, this game is a great choice. Anime French Revolution would not be the first place that I would put a tactics title, but that is exactly the case of Banner of the Maid, where you play as Napoleon's sister, finding her way in the treacherous political waters of Paris. The tactics and strategy part is great, but I do like how the soldiers are represented in battle, being one for tactics fans.
We've been trapped down here for so long, amongst these forgotlings. We don't belong here. Be on your guard, man.
Not many people know about this gem, which is why I want to give it a mention, where Forgotten End is a beautifully done puzzle platformer, where the gorgeous hand-drawn art both in cutscenes and gameplay are just wonderful, but this is hugely discounted at 80% off. Speaking of beautiful adventure platformers, the watercolor world of Gris is worth exploring, although I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing the title wrong, telling a tale of grief and overcoming sorrow, where the pretty visuals are the highlights and it's just art.
Welcome to Wonope, a planet of lush vegetation.
I was very excited to find out about Crashlands 2, which was just announced recently, where if you have not played the original, do yourself a favour and give this a try, where it's a crafting-focused action-adventure game that is simply wacky, where, like ASTRONEER covered earlier, has one of those gameplay loops that hook you in with the constant upgrades that you get. To get one of the best precision platformers for just $3 is just criminal, since Slime Sun, Super Slime Edition is essentially 4 games/campaigns in one, where you play as a slime eaten by a giant worm, only to find an entire city filled with various creatures within. Sure, the pixel art and colour scheme in particular are not the most pleasing to the eye, but there's something unique about this game, where the platforming challenges, optional strawberry equivalents, and world building are fantastic in this.
Hello, and welcome back to the Aperture Science Computer-Aided Enrichment Center.
Getting down to the wire here, where I was pleasantly surprised with Bridge Constructor Portal when it released in 2017, being a bridge builder puzzle game like Polybridge, but where the developer somehow convinced Valve to lend them Portal, but this game makes you think with portals once again, and just goes to show how influential those two games were, and at $1 this is a steal. The beautifully vibrant rhythm game Muse Dash is a steal at less than 50 cents, where even if you don't usually play rhythm games, do give this a shot, where if you want DRM free titles, check out this video.